top international story this hour, we turn to Iran, where the, quote, strongest ever sanctions regime has gone into effect. On Monday, President Donald Trump made good on his threat to strangle the country's economy, reimposing limits on Iran's banking, transportation, and oil sectors. According to the State Department's Iran Action Group, the sanctions are designed to reduce Iran's oil exports to zero by punishing any individual or institution which does business with 700 individuals, entities, and other crucial components of Iran's oil sector, which are now blacklisted by the U.S. Treasury. Those institutions include 50 Iranian banks and their foreign subsidiaries, the Atomic Energy Organization of Iran, as well as 200 individuals and ships affiliated with Iran's oil trade. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo admits the goal of sanctions is to encourage change in the Iranian government.
In May of this year, after President Trump withdrew from the nuclear deal, the Trump administration announced a new strategy to fundamentally alter the behavior of the Islamic Republic of Iran's leadership. At the center of this effort, and there are multiple lines of effort, but at the center of it, is an unprecedented campaign of economic pressure. Our objective is to starve the Iranian regime of the revenue it uses to fund violent and destabilizing activities throughout the Middle East and indeed around the world.
Despite U.S. confidence, several countries have already said they plan on sidestepping the rules. Turkey says it will not abide by the sanctions, while European countries are seeking legal means to bypass them. Russia and China will continue trade as usual, with Moscow pledging to assist Iran in countering the restrictions. Tehran views the measures as economic warfare. Still, Iranian Foreign Minister Javad Zarif vows his country will survive the aggressions.
The U.S. administration appears to believe that imposing illegal draconian sanctions on Iran will bring about such pain to our nation that it will force us to submit to its will, no matter how absurd, unlawful, or fundamentally flawed its demands are. We have weathered difficult times in the face of 40 years of American hostility, relying solely on our own resources. And today, we and our partners across the globe will ensure that our people are least affected by this indiscriminate assault in the economic warfare that directly targets the Iranian people.
With Iran sanctions in question, we thought now would be a good time to hear from an Iranian himself. Mr. Mohammad Marandi, professor at the University of Tehran, joins me now. Professor, former Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad has said before that the U.S. dollar is the key strength of the American empire. How does this latest round of sanctions support the argument that the U.S. uses the dollar in the international banking system as a weapon?
All right, Brakatha Yahweh, Brakatha Yahushai, Brakatha Yahweh, Brakatha Yahushai, Brakatha Yahweh, Brakatha Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rekakodash. Salakia, Ba'ashem Rekakodash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, which you well. Salutations to the hopeful elect out there. You brothers that sincerely do this thing in the utmost truth and sincerity. On the pre-Shemon, and this topic is going to be De-Dollarization. From opposing countries. Still a working title, whatever the Spirit have me call this show. But basically, what you're seeing is Monday, Trump did issue those sanctions upon Iran, and it was fitting that the way they said sanctions are coming. They say winter is coming from Game of Thrones. They say sanctions are coming, and we've been saying that this world politics is no different than Game of Thrones. Now, when we look at this quote above by Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, all right, we see that when you look at the very end, it says things need to change. Current orders should be reordered. Hashtag New World Order. Hashtag dollar dictatorship. And this is why the Spirit had me do that show that the elites are at odds with each other, all right? Because, when you first start, understanding that the greater world is controlled by different families and secret societies and such and such. You think that it's all controlled by one thing, but no, it's not so. They're at odds with each other. You see these different nations are actually allied one with another, and this guy's taking shot when he said look at these words. It says current order should be reordered. Hashtag New World Order. So that these guys are with a different family, all right? The Iranians are with the Russians and with the Koreans and with Yemen and Syria. They're opposed to the current world order run by the Rothschilds on the west, all right? They're allies in the east, which is Saudi Arabia and Israel, okay? And there's different things these guys are doing to try to collapse each other's economy. But here's a scripture. This is Matthew 12:26. And as Satan casts out Satan, he is divided against himself. How shall then his kingdom stand? So you have different Edomite fractions that control major parts of the world, major resources that are at odds with one another. See, the goal to get in Iran is for the natural resources. And the main natural resource is oil. The U.S. has been getting most of their oil from Saudi Arabia. But that's not going to last forever. All right. When that runs up, you could expect prices to skyrocket. And since the U.S. dollar is not backed by gold, all right, the last time the U.S. dollar was backed by anything was during the time of President Nixon. All right. After that, it became legal tender, and this petrodollar is really backed by nothing. All right. Absolutely nothing. Okay. So different currencies, different countries are saying, listen, fuck this U.S. dollar, man. All right. And the goal to get in Iran, well, rather I should say to retake Iran, because after the world wars, the United States usurped the natural resources in Iran and was taking advantage of their different oil fields and was making a lot of money. All right. So Iran chased the West out and established their own thing and started getting the benefits of their resources. But you know what? The West toppled, not really toppled in a sense, but caused a division amongst the Iranians and set up a coup d'etat in 1953 and installed a puppet. All right, a puppet king in Iran. This guy was spending all their money in Iran and crippling the economy. But he was loyal to the West, and he had the West pretty much had control again over the oil fields, man. That's how come people that grew up in the 70s here in America, they were spending damn near 80 cents a gallon at one time on oil, man. Oil got really cheap. But in 1979, Iran established back its government, and ever since, it's 1979, took control back of their government, and ever since then, the U.S. has been trying to get back in there and get the natural resources, right? And right now, as it stands, China has the top two companies dealing with oil, followed by ExxonMobil, which is the third largest, which is a Western company. So we see that the fight for natural resources among these elites, all right, is really heating up, man. The both sides using this as a reason to have them divide amongst themselves and ultimately start the world war. And I've been meditating and seeing things through the spirit and by watching these different videos, and we could see that the elites, their goal for a new world order is to pretty much heap all natural resources, gold, oil, everything onto themselves, start a third world war, and in the aftermath, with all these different world resources that they will heap onto themselves and hide from the destruction, and when after and post destruction, be the only ones with all the gold, all the silver, all the oil to rule the masses. That's the goal in their mind, you know what I'm saying? But of course, we know the Most High is gonna overthrow that at the last minute. All right. when he's about to put a cap seal on this, right? So this US dollar, you could just pretty much rule it out very soon, all right? Because there's trade wars, different types of sanctions happening, and this was all prophesied, all right? In Mark the 13th chapter, Matthew the 21st chapter, and Luke 21. This is Mark 13:7. And when ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, be ye not troubled, for such things must needs be, but the end shall not be yet. So these things needs to happen. These trade sanctions, these trade wars, which is going to lead to an actual war, need to happen. For what? For the end to come. All right? People are waking up to the fact that the US dollar, is not a just weight and measure. When it was first established, the US dollar was backed, it had to be backed by silver. And this is no different than the Roman denarius, okay, which got devalued because they started using less precious metals. They stopped using less silver, and they did the same thing for the centarius, which was the copper version. Denarius was silver and the centarius was copper. But towards the end of the Roman Empire, it wasn't worth shit. They stopped using actual metals of value. And you can see the same thing is going on with the US dollar, okay? It's no longer backed by anything. Even the silver quarters, that quarters used to contain silver. They don't contain silver anymore, right? So if you have a quarter that's pre-1964, hold on to it, because it actually has a bit of silver in it. All right. Continuing on, the point I wanted to make was with the fall of the dollar, right around the corner. All right, you could expect all-out chaos to come here in America. All right. That's inevitable. That's also in the prophecies, right? And you could expect martial law. You could expect the rapid movement of the chip, all right? Because if to implement a new currency, we have to crash the US dollar, all right? This is the mind of the elites. We have to crash the US dollar and go with a one world currency, because in the scheme to establish a one world bank, all right, this idea of paper money has to get thrown out the window, all right, because it's much easier to track and control digital currency. That's like when you watch movies that establish themselves in the future, people operate on credits. Now this is Proverbs 3:25. Be not afraid of sudden fear, neither of the desolation of the wicked when it cometh. So what's some of those sudden fears that's coming? The things that I've mentioned. 2nd Ezra 8:50, 2nd Ezra 15 throughout 16, these different plagues that are coming upon the world, and we see that they're right around the corner. Brothers doing lessons on the fact that FEMA ordered 50,000 RFID chips, the collapse of this US dollar, right? The damn near collapse of the American economy, all right? America is trying to fight, Israel is trying to fight, and these different nations are trying to fight to heap up natural resources, okay? But what they're trying to do is to cripple each other's economy. And who's going to suffer from that? The quote-unquote American, the average so-called American, man. All right? They're going to feel it. Hey, brothers, we're going to go through it. But we know, pursuing, if I read up to Proverbs, the third 7 there, let me might as well read it. Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5 is simple. It says, trust in the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahshai with all thine heart, and lean not unto thy own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. So the things that are coming, the fear that is coming here upon America, they're going to start pushing. All right, it's going to affect all of us, but ultimately we just have to trust in the Most High. You know? So what I'm going to do is go to Proverbs Psalms 112:7. He is a man that fears the Most High, or a good man. Just read the 5th verse. It says, he shall not be afraid of evil tidings. And we're not. We're actually looking forward to these things. All right. The evil tidings is the fact that this dollar you people are going in the clubs blowing and throwing on strippers and doing all types of wicked things to establish and get and heap onto yourselves. You're gonna wake up to the fact that it's just monopoly money. All right. These are the tidings that's coming from the Most High. It says, he shall not be afraid of evil tidings. All right. Let me see tidings, what they got there. Or evil report, evil news. All right. Report news tidings. He shall not be. This is evil news to people out there. The fact that this U.S. dollar is about to collapse, that the nations are not going to be using it, that you have the Rothschilds versus the White Dragon Society, or the different opposing fractions of secret society going against each other, and they're going to take it out on each other by crippling each other's economy and having the people suffer. Shit's going to get crazy. But a man of the Most High is not going to be afraid, because we understand that the Most High is in control of all this. This is all his doings. These are all the things that we prophesy about. It says, he shall not be afraid of evil tidings. His heart is fixed, trusting in the Most High Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. So let me see fixed. Firm, stable. Meaning you have faith, man. That's what the foundation of this whole thing is. Hebrews 11:1. The faith of hope is the faith of any evidence not seen. Okay? The things that are not seen. So we in all those days when these common dollar collapse happened, and the grinding ceased pursuant to the book of Ecclesiastes, all right, people tossing themselves back into like a Stone Age type mentality where women are going to become commodities, children are going to be commodities, all right. Clothing, just like the book of Eli, just like the road, these things are coming, man, here. And that's how come Peter Schiff always mentions that you have these rich elite people leaving America and going over there to China and these different countries. But guess what? The Chinese are not next to rule. The so-called Moabites, the Russians are not going to rule forever. The next nation to rule and the last nation to rule is the sons of Israel. The Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, period. And the daughters under them. Go to the next scripture. This is the last one, all right? This is John 14:1. Let not your heart be troubled. Ye believe in the Most High, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, believe also in me, which we believe in Yahweh Shai. We believe in the Son of the Most High. The scriptures that I quoted in Mark of the rumors and wars, these were in red letters written by the Lord, spoken by the Lord, all right? So we have to believe in the things that he said, that these things must surely come to pass, and we see that we're at the end, man, all right? The U.S. is trying these different tactics to regain Iran. Since damn near Project Desert Storm in the 90s, when they went up there in Iraq, they've been trying to go into the Middle East to take it, because they never could truly take the Middle East. But that's why the Most High is gathering the nations, pursuant to the book of Joel, over there in the valley of Jehoshaphat, which is the Middle East. Different warships in the Mediterranean. See? All right? Not just from U.S., but from Britain and France. You got warships from Russia. Okay? China, North Korea, are allying these smaller nations such as Yemen, Syria, and Iran. So this shit is heating up. And now you got other camps out there that's lollygagging, man, that don't see the greater picture of the things that, and the greater picture of the prophecies that's taking place. Only here at Great Millstone, some of the apostles and elders that we stressing and going into these prophecies day in, day out. We don't give no fuck about no new damn Passover garment, man. That's not the mindset you should be in right now, man. This is 2018, the year of prophecy. And these prophecies are popping off like popcorn, as brother says, man. So you have to be in the right mind, man. Stay in these news and current affairs, man. No goddamn 2019, what the new Passover is going to look like. I'm talking about the IUIC and you other fucking camps out there, man, that just take Israel as a big joke, man. Take this and you take this thing for a filthy lucre scheme to increase your pockets, man. You're going to be caught up in the evil that's to come, and so are the fools that blindly follow you, false pastors and shepherds, false pastors out there, man, and shepherds, man. The ones of you that are sincere, all right, stay in the news, all right, because this is big, man. This is big. All right, expect gas prices to skyrocket soon. All right, expect all hell to break out soon. All right, and expect more trade wars and sanctions and different means of tools used by the U.S. to try to cripple these different economies out there, and them retaliating, man. This is all going to lead to a bigger global catastrophe, man. It's all prophesied in the Bible, man. And here at Great Millstone, the chief prophet set up by Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, starting with the apostles and elders, we're here to teach and warn. All right, and I'm going to say it again. I'm going to go to it actually this time, because I've been saying in these past couple lessons, man. I'm going to close with it. It's the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 1. I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. And the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushua answered me and said, write the visions and make it plain upon tables, the visions of the prophecies. And they're plain in this book. Here's the kicker. That he may run that readeth it. So you're either going to do two things when you hear these prophecies, man. If you're a man of the Lord, and you sincerely trying to be a man of the Lord and serve the Most High, you're going to run with it. You're going to start the race. You're going to push. And if you're not, then you're going to run from it and take the fuck off. So you're either going to run with this thing, or you're going to run from it, man. With that, I'm going to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushai, Ba'ashim Rakakodash, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone with true well. And salutations to the hopeful elect out there, man. You brothers that sincerely do this thing in the utmost truth and sincerity. Shalom.